So in this session, what we are going to do, there is concept of tax deducted at source in income tax and tax collection at source in income tax. How that affects your calculation of value in GST, that we are going to learn. Okay. So you have to first understand what is concept of TDS and then understand how it will affect value in GST. Okay. So actually very simple. Understand step by step. So what you do to understand this concept. So first we are doing TDS, concept of TDS. Because we have not yet done income tax, so I will explain you concept of TDS also and then apply it in and what effect it will have in GST. So first explaining you what is TDS. Okay, so on the left hand side of your page, you can write supplier. You can write supplier on left hand side of your page. You write supplier's name. You write my name. So CA PRATIK NEVE is supplier. Is supplier of some services. On right hand side, you write XYZ Coaching Academy. XYZ Coaching Academy. So XYZ Coaching Academy will be recipient of supply. Agreed, na? Okay, I am not employee with XYZ Coaching Academy, but I am giving professional services. So what I am giving them? Show that I am giving them professional services. With an arrow, show that I am giving them professional services. Assume this professional services I am giving of 1 lakh rupees. Of how much? 1 lakh. Agreed? So for me it is an income. For that academy it is an expense. Okay, so now they will pay me. Now they will pay me. So show opposite arrow. Arrow from whom to whom? XYZ Coaching Academy to me. Show that arrow. So they are paying me this professional fees. Now originally, how much professional fees they are liable to pay me? 1 lakh. But understand one thing. They will not pay 1 lakh because Income Tax Act, which we are going to start learning from 21st of April. This Income Tax Act says that it is whose income? It is supplier's income. Correct. So supplier has to pay tax, income tax. So Income Tax Act says that why not ask this recipient of supply to deduct tax. For whom? For supplier. Means government doesn't want to wait till money goes to supplier, then supplier calculates his income, then pays the tax. They say nothing doing. We will tell you a percentage. At that percent you deduct tax at source. This is called as TDS, tax deducted at source. So professional fees is 1 lakh. Less, what they will do less? TDS, tax deducted at source. Okay. So that is fixed here. In this case it is fixed at 10%. It is fixed at what? 10%. How by 7th May you will comfortably understand. Why 10%? So how much will they pay me net? How much this academy will pay me net? Friends, how much this academy will pay me net? 90,000. Yes. So can I say 90,000 is net payment? Did you show subtraction of 10,000 TDS? and net payment will be 90,000. Did you get? Acha, so if I ask you, supply was made of what value? 1 lakh. Very good. Supply was made of 1 lakh. That is not 90,000. Supply was made of 1 lakh. But net I received is 90,000. 10,000 is as good as tax paid by me to government. My liability has been paid to government to the extent of 10,000. Now question is how I am connecting it with GST. Supplies happened. You all agreed supplies happened of 1 lakh. So what type of invoice I would have made to that academy? So you have to show the invoice now. Go to next line. In one box, show the invoice. Draw one small box. At the top of the box, write down tax invoice. I would have made tax invoice of how much? What is the AV? What I should write as AV in the tax invoice? Huh? So right? AV is 1 lakh. No one can change the AV, na? AV is 1 lakh. Suppose GST is at 18%. So what is GST amount? See how much so obvious it is. You have to keep on answering. What is the GST amount? 18,000. So what is therefore invoice value? 1 lakh 18,000. Agreed, na? 1 lakh 18,000. As a supplier, I was supposed to get 1 lakh 18,000. But towards my income, how much will I get? 90,000 net after TDS. But is GST my income? Is GST supplier's income? Friends, answer confidently. Is GST supplier's income? Of course, no. Supplier will collect from recipient of supply and supplier will pay to the government. So in short, 18,000 I am just collecting on behalf of government. So should they cut any TDS from this 18,000? Impossible. They should not. So they will pay me 90,000, my income plus 18,000. So what is total amount that I will receive? So write down total amount received by supplier. Friends, tell me what is total amount received by supplier? Yes, friends. What is total amount received by supplier? 1 lakh 8,000. See how much so obvious it is, you should answer. If things are obvious, then I too should keep silent only. So it is 1 lakh 8,000. How 1 lakh 8,000? How 1 lakh 8,000? 90,000 plus 90,000 plus 18,000. Do you agree with me? Now why I am telling you all these things? Because you can be having only bank statement access and you can be shown amount received after TDS and you can be asked what is the assessable value. Okay, for example, write down one question. Write down one question. Write down one question. Mr. A received Mr. A received professional fees. Mr. A received professional fees of rupees 3,24,000. Received professional fees of rupees 3,24,000 in his bank account, in his bank account, in his bank account after TDS, after TDS at 10%, after TDS at 10%. Okay. Okay. So what happened? Mr. A received professional fees. Can you underline? Professional fees of how much? 3,24,000. So 324 is the accessible value or 324 is the net received? It is net received. Underline word received in his bank account. Got it, girl? Means it is net received. It is not accessible value. It is the amount received. After TDS at 10%, full stop, continue. GST is at 18%. GST is at 18%. Question is compute accessible value. Question is what? Compute accessible value. So can anyone tell me how much is the accessible value in this case? What is the accessible value in this case? Huh? Don't be shy, tell me. Now how you have to approach this? Chalo, come on. So if you are finding difficult, write down equation. Anything you can frame in equation form, no? In 4th standard you have learned. What equation? Write down equation. Write down equation. What is the equation? Accessible value. In front of accessible value, write 100. So friends, when accessible value is 100, what is the GST in this case? So write down plus GST 18. Write invoice value. Next line. Step by step write one after the other. Accessible value 100. Next line GST below 100, write 18. So what is invoice value? Huh? 118. Less TDS. TDS has happened at what percent? Very good. 10%. 10% of what? 10% of 10% of 100. So how much TDS? 10. Friends, you can't be replying like this. We have more 17 days to go after this. Show more Josh in replying. So 118 minus 10. What is the net amount? Net amount that would be received in bank. Friends, you're not replying only. Net amount in bank will be how much? 108. So can I say, therefore, right now, how much I have received? 3,24,000. So can I say 3,24,000 is equal to 108? So 100 is how much? Can we do the cross multiplication? 3,24,000 is equal to 108. So 100 is how much? So 3,24,000 into 100 by 108. How much you are getting? rupees 3 lakh. Did you all understand? Did you understand? Should I come back for income tax? If yes, then please reply properly. If you feel that I should not come back, then no problem, don't reply. If you feel I should come back, then you reply that have you understood this? So 3 lakh is your assessable value. Just show the justification. Show justification, next line. What justification? Assessable value is how much? 3 lakhs. Show justification now. Assessable value is 3 lakhs. Add GST at 18%. Is it 54,000? So how much actually your customer had to pay you? 3,54,000. But Income Tax Act has asked him to deduct TDS at 10% of 3 lakhs. So TDS at 10% of 3 lakh is 30,000. So what is your therefore amount received? 3 lakh 24,000. Getting the point? Understood? Proved? So they had given you this 324. From 324 you reach till 3 as assessable value. Next. So this was concept of TDS in income tax and how it affects your means how it affects your amount received. Okay, so what you have to remember, TDS will not be done on the GST part. TDS will be done only on the AV. Next. Now write down TCS. Tax collection at source. TCS under GST. TCS under income tax. TCS under income tax. Yes, so now see this concept of TCS. Okay, what happens in TCS? Tax collected at source. Okay, very unique concept, very deep concept. See, for example, Kia Motors is there. Kia Motors. Kia Motors showroom is there. Okay, that Kia Motors showroom means supplier. That supplier is say selling. That supplier is selling one car of say 20 lakh rupees. Supplier is selling car of 20 lakh rupees to Mr. X. So Mr. X becomes recipient of supply. Okay, now understand, government says that actually whose income it is when car is sold? Supplier's income. But government says fine, it is supplier's income, agreed. We don't have problem with that. But government says there will be collected tax at source at 1% on such transaction. So in very few transactions TCS applies. So from customer, this car dealer will not collect 20 lakh rupees. He will collect 20 lakh plus 20,000, that is 20 lakh 20,000. Now you will say it is actually recipient of supplies expenditure, na? It is actually customer's expenditure. On expenditure, how is income tax collected? So actually understand what happens now. 20,000 rupees is what? TCS. Who has got that TCS? Supplier, means this Kia Motors showroom has got this TCS. They will deposit this with government. They will deposit this with government. As whose tax? As tax of Mr. X. Along with, along with, along with PAN. PAN means permanent account number of Mr. X. So what has happened? It's like advance tax paid by Mr. X to the government. But via whom? Via Kia Motors. Now what's the logic behind this? Now suppose this Mr. X, recipient of supply, has a final income tax liability. It has a final income tax liability for financial year 23-24 of say 3,25,000. Then it will not pay 3,25,000. It will pay only how much? 3,05,000. Getting it? So what is this 20,000? It is TCS and it is paid. It is whose tax? It is tax of recipient of supply. Income tax of recipient of supply, but which is paid in advance in the form of TCS. Now point is why we are discussing this in GST. What is the need to discuss this in GST? Because in GST I want to ask you a very critical question. What is the assessable value of car sold by Kia Motors? What is the assessable value of the car? Is it 20 lakhs or is it 20 lakh 20,000? That is my question. Now, taking you back to section 15, assessable value shall be transaction value, that is price actually paid or payable, and that transaction value includes a point, taxes other than GST. So actually if you consider TCS as a tax, then value should be 20 lakh 20,000. Getting it? But is TCS a separate tax or is TCS a part of income tax? TCS is a part of income tax of the recipient of supply. So TCS is not a separate tax on the goods. It is just part and parcel of income tax. So it is clarified that exclude TCS. So what you said logically, that assessable value is 20 lakhs, is absolutely correct and not 20 lakh 20,000. That is the whole point. Okay, so just complete this and write one sentence. Complete this and write one sentence in your notebook. Understood, na? So what is the role of TDS and how TDS and TCS will affect your valuation? Understood? So write one sentence, complete this and write one sentence. See, do we have to do provisions of TDS, TCS and income tax? Yes, we will do that. But right now what I told you is basic concept and how it affects your GST. Okay, so write one sentence. TCS is TCS is not a separate tax. TCS is not a separate tax. TCS is not a separate tax, but a mode of collecting, but a mode of collecting what? But a mode of collecting income tax, isn't it? TCS is not a separate tax, but a mode of collecting income tax from the assessee. But mode of collecting income tax from the assessee. ASS, ESS, EE. TCS is not a separate tax, but mode of collecting income tax from assessee. Okay, TCS, hence TCS should not form part of what? Hence TCS should not form part of assessable value. Hence TCS should not form part of assessable value. Okay. Full stop. Next line. AV shall continue to be rupees. AV shall continue to be rupees 20 lakhs. AV shall continue to be rupees 20 lakhs. You know actually what? Government wants to check who is purchasing car of which value is exceeding 10 lakh. So what happens? Now Kia Motors will give details of all PAN, means all assessees who did purchases of motor vehicles from them in excess of rupees 10 lakhs. So 1% tax was just, just a mode of collecting information. Now government at one stretch has got information of all assessees who are making purchases of cars in excess of 10 lakhs. Now what they will do? They will check the corresponding income of those assessees. If income of those assessees is not matching with this, then they can send notices that why so less income is declared if you have so heavy expenditure. Heavy expenditure should be supported by heavy income. So this is just a way of fooling the assessees. This is just way of collecting information in a secret way. TCS, tax, because common man will not know this. There will be TCS. He will be in the excitement to purchase the car. He will not go in details of each point. But government will get all the information of buyers of such vehicles. So there are many places where TCS is made mandatory. Not all, but many places where TCS is made mandatory. For example, if you are going for foreign trip, so and you want to exchange rupees with dollars, so there is a foreign remittance involved for foreign tours or for foreign education. Then in all such cases, TCS becomes applicable. So automatically government collects the required information. And there is no loss to you if you are a good assessee. If you are honest assessee, there is no loss to you. If this Mr. X has got this car from hard-earned money which he has declared, then there is no problem. 20,000 is not lost to him. This 20,000 will currently go to government and afterwards he will minus it from tax payable. So this 20,000 is his credit only. Means it is going in his income tax account, which is an asset. It is not going in his, it is not his expense, it is his asset. It's not getting wasted eventually. So is it a tax on goods or is it a tax on income? It is a tax on income, and that too paid in advance. Means this 20 lakh was expense, but this tax is collected on that expense just to see whether correct income is declared, and of that finally credit is given. So government says it is irrelevant to include it in the assessable value. So assessable value should exclude TCS. Got it? So that's it. In this session, that's it. I hope you have understood basic concept of TDS and TCS and how it has relation with your calculation of assessable value in GST. That's it.